Hey Limitless Nation, today you're in for a real treat. Today you get to learn directly from Michael Cheney. Michael Cheney is a millionaire entrepreneur who's been running his online business since the year 2000. With many awards and high achievements to his name, Michael continues to inspire people all around the world with his humor and wit. Not a stranger to challenges or hard work, Michael has gone on to win numerous medals in the bicycle racing world. He made it all the way to the World Championship race, whereupon he made a life-changing decision just before the finish line. That decision has shaped Michael's life and has allowed him the freedom to share with the world the way to live a limitless life. In today's masterclass, you're going to learn directly from the master himself, Michael Cheney. Let's dive into it.
Before you dive into today's masterclass session, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button below. It allows you to receive notification bell every single time we provide you with the content that allows you to live a limitless life. Now, if you want to go deeper on learning on how you can hunt your future, make sure you download our masterclass session at huntyourfuture.com. It allows you to know exactly what you need to do to hunt your future. Plus, we are also going to share with you tips and tricks on what you need to do to live a limitless life starting from today's forward. Now, let's dive into today's masterclass sessions.
Hey, welcome Michael Cheney.
How you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. It's a privilege to have you here with us today.
Oh, thanks for the invite. It's good to be here, and always good to extend across the airwaves and share some stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Correct. Now, is there anything that we did not mention in the bio that you'd like to share with the Limitless Nation?
You probably covered some of the main stuff there. I'd rather sort of get into the meat of, helping people out and giving some tactics and strategies rather than, talking about things that I've done. But, if you want to delve into details later, then you can do that. It's no problem.
Sounds good. Well, Michael, here at the Limitless Nation, we have this amazing tradition of starting each and every single interview with a limitless quote or something that you say or think to yourself on a daily basis.
Right.
So do you have a quote or something that you say or think to yourself on a daily basis?
There's a quote I came up with. I wouldn't say I think of it every day, but it's kind of a cool quote, so I'm going to give you it. So it's success isn't won by wondering how, but rather by working in the wonder of now. So the idea of that quote is that you can't just sit around thinking, how am I going to do this? What's the best way to do this? Let me study. Let me buy this training. Should I do this or that? So it's saying, success isn't won by wondering how. So you're never going to get anywhere by overthinking things. You're only going to succeed by taking action. Crap, imperfect, stupid, rubbish action beats any kind of thinking or strategy or pondering or wondering it by 1,000 times. So, people that talk a good game and think, oh yeah, I've got this great idea and I've got this great plan are worse than somebody that's making mistakes and taking action all the time. So that's part of the quote. And then the other part of the quote, success isn't won by wondering how, but rather by working in the wonder of now. So there's a few things in there. Obviously it's work. Success is work. There is no magic push button. There's no way around it. You've got to work. You've got to put in the hours. You've got to put in the graft. But it's also in the wonder of now. So it's all about the present moment and seizing that moment and not putting everything into the future. Like, if I do this, then maybe down the line this will happen and such. Because you can get trapped in that, particularly as an entrepreneur. It's easy to fall into the trap of everything being future focused. If I do this, that will lead to this, and then I'll be able to do this, and then eventually somewhere down the line I'll be happy. That'll be it. Once I've got this or once I've done this. So it is a danger as an entrepreneur that you can fall into the trap of living your life always in the future and never actually arriving and enjoying the moment. So there's quite a lot of things wrapped up in that quote. I don't repeat it every day, but I certainly try and live aspects of it every day.
Right. So it helps you to understand that you need to have balance. You can't have everything being focused all the way over here of what I'm going to do in 10 years or what I'm going to do tomorrow, but also to be focused in right now and still keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And not to forget, to enjoy, the moment and enjoy the day to day, and not always be building and focusing on, well, this will lead to this, and, if I do this, I'll get this. It's like, well, no, enjoy right now. Like, what are you doing right now? If you're not enjoying it moment to moment, and it's all about building something for future enjoyment or future result, you will never be happy. You'll never get to because the horizon is never reached. You're always moving that horizon. If I just made $5,000 a month, it'd be great. And you get to $5,000. And if you have that mindset, I just have 10 grand, or maybe if I have staff, or, if I get a best-selling book, and it just, you never arrive. So yeah, you've definitely got to watch out for that.
I agree. Now, when you say you never arrive and you have to watch out for things and be aware of things, can you share with the Limitless Nation a challenge or simply a failure that you possibly might have had to overcome and get through to get to where you are now?
Yeah, there's been a lot. I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, running my online business. So there's been a lot of ups and downs and challenges in that time. Probably one of the biggest was a failed kind of product launch, if you like. So I'd come up with this idea of having a $1 trial for some training. So I'd give all this training away for $1. And the idea was I would offer what's called a one-click upsell, so people could have an additional upgrade and just do a one-click upsell, so they wouldn't have to re-enter their payment information. They could just click this thing. Now, I wasn't familiar with how to do that technically, but it became an obsession of mine to have a launch where I had this one-click upsell, because I knew other people that were doing it. I knew there was a lot of money in it. So I was kind of really chasing it at that time. I was chasing the money and the result more than I was, focused on the now, or focused on enjoying things, or maybe even focused on, delivering value to my customers. The training was great, and I stand by every product I put out there, but I did get obsessed about this thing. So that would have been bad enough. However, when we came to launch the product, because I wasn't aware of how to do that, I needed to rely on a separate team to create that functionality for me. And I didn't know even the basics about how it worked. So when they were telling me, yeah, it's almost ready, and then the deadline for when we were going live with the product was getting closer, I just had to trust them. I didn't have any option. And then on the day it went live, we had, 100, 200 partners promoting, all big name joint venture partners, all the traffic that you can imagine. And it didn't work. The whole system didn't work. So people who were spending money, they weren't getting what they paid for. Affiliates weren't getting the commission that they had earned. And it was essentially, if you can imagine, we were getting several transactions a second at some parts during that day because it was so busy. But it was like we had a huge sack of buyer name, joint venture or affiliate who'd referred them, transaction, username and password of access. And it's just like you would mixed all that up inside the sack and then thrown it into the air. Like, it was just complete carnage. So I had to stop the launch, had to apologize to all the joint venture partners. And this launch had taken me a year to develop, with all the videos that I'd created for it. I was traveling around the world and creating videos in Vegas, in Paris, in Amsterdam. There was this huge pre-launch to it, and I had to cancel the launch. So it was a huge setback. And the main lesson I got from that is really, there's many. First, don't chase the money. Don't do something just for money's sake. Money really should be a secondary thing. Second, don't rely on, don't outsource or rely on other people to do something unless you first have an understanding of it yourself. I shouldn't really have gone into that area because I had no knowledge of the software or functionality. It doesn't mean that you need to be an expert in all these things. You can't be an expert in everything, but you need to have a basic understanding of how things work before you pay other people to create them for you. Otherwise, you've got no idea of knowing if what they're saying or if what they're doing is true or correct. So yeah, there were a lot of lessons learned from that, and I took several months out from the business to sort of take stock and everything. But as with all these things, it was more than the experience was more than worth it in the long run. At the time, obviously, it felt like the worst thing ever and a huge loss. And but really, I gained more from that than I lost, in the big picture of things.
Wow, I can't imagine that. You spent more than a year trying to develop everything. You get everything lined up, and then it just like a gun blows up in your face. However,
Right.
however, you managed to rebound from that and to come back and bounce back from that. How long did it take you to really? You must have lost some of your self-confidence, or some part of there must have shifted a little bit. And did you ever question yourself after that?
Yeah, I did. It was, as I say, it led to questions that I wouldn't have asked previously, like, why am I doing this? Is this worth it? Am I doing this in the right way? Who am I? What's the point of all, questions that you just wouldn't ask normally if you're just chipping along day to day. Oh, everything's going okay, or it's going great, or things are going, you might have a minor setback. You're not going to ask those sort of questions if things are, you've got a straight line and they're up and down, but it's like this. You're not going to delve deep into those kind of personal questions. But if you have a massive high or a massive low, it will force you to start asking the questions that are actually most important. So for me, the biggest thing that I've got out of this entire journey is not the money or the lifestyle or any of that. It's really getting to know who you are as an individual, getting to know yourself. Because ironically, when you first start in business, you're struggling for money, you don't have the income, maybe you can't even afford to pay the bills. So that money is at the forefront and you're worried day to day, how can I get through, or what am I going to do next? And you don't have the space mentally to devote to working on yourself, because you don't see it as important. You think, well, no, that's not important. I'm not working on myself. I'm working on getting money and paying the bills. So you can't ask the important questions because you don't have time, and that's fine. That's not nobody's fault. That's just the way it is. But ironically, when you get enough money so that you can take a step back and you don't have to work and you don't have to do anything really, you actually get to a position when you can ask the questions that are far more important than the money anyway. But you kind of need that money to give yourself that space. So it's kind of ironic. You get into this. Certainly for me, and I know a lot of people, you struggle financially, you want things, you want stuff and holidays and cars or whatever. So you go off, you set up this business, and then, hopefully you get those things, but you then realize, oh, right, I still feel the same. Things are a little bit different. You feel more comfortable. You're not worried as much, but there's still something missing. You're still something at the back of your mind going, yeah, but what now? Like, what next? And as I say, that voice is not heard until you're in a comfortable position financially. But it is, in fact, the most important thing of all. And some people are lucky and they can zero in on that voice without having that sort of financial freedom, and they can distance themselves from day-to-day life and work on that without having to be a successful entrepreneur. But certainly for me, it came after.
Right. Wow. Now, Michael, here at the Limitless Nation, we call it an aha moment. A moment where everything changes. And it sounds like you went through more than a couple of those where you were at this level and you had your aha moment and it got you to this level. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so again, there's probably a few where you have this big shift, this big sort of paradigm shift. For me, it was more of it was away from the business, but it was also related to the business. And I don't know if you know, but I used to be a very keen cyclist. Well, that's probably an understatement. Like most things, I was kind of obsessed with it. So I got into cycling fairly late on in life, and I think I was in my late 30s, and I'd not been on a bike since I was a kid. But anyway, I got on a bike, and within about 4 years, I was competing at the Amateur World Championships in France one year, and then in Italy the next year. So I kind of threw everything into it. I applied all the business lessons that I'd learned about, detail and goals and having a plan, discipline, structure, learning from the best people, getting a coach, all of this stuff. I just applied it to cycling. And I kind of threw myself into this thing and was starting to win a lot of trophies and, races and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, the big aha moment came at my last race, which was at the World Champs in Italy. So you have to qualify. They do qualifiers around the world, and then the best people from each qualifier go through to the World Championships. And it was during the race itself, and I'd worked all year for this. This is something that I've geared my entire season on. I obviously had lots of races in between and different races, but this was really the main event that I'd be gearing up to. I would train 6 days a week. I'd be cycling outdoors through the winter here in Scotland, whatever the weather outside, for at least an hour, doing 15, 16 hours a week on a bike. And I got to this event, and about halfway through, I just realized that I don't want to do this anymore. I just thought, this is not who I am. Like, I'd built up this entire kind of identity around this, Michael Cheney, the cyclist. Like, this is what he does. He goes off and he wins races, so going back to what I said at the start, it really played into this future forward thing. I would train for 6 months a year, not racing, so that maybe one day I could get to a race. Maybe I would win that race. Maybe I would get some trophy, and maybe I would get that feeling that would make it all worth it. So apart from when I was racing, everything was focused on that. So all the training and everything that I was doing was all, well, let's just get through this. Let's just get through this. So, around this, it doesn't really matter what time of the year it was, but whenever I was doing it, it was always fast forwarding. I was always thinking, let me get through this period so I can get to the race. And I built up, as I say, this entire identity about having to prove to people, having to prove to myself, getting hooked on that feeling of winning, of beating other people. And I was just fighting the whole time. Like, I was fighting, when I was training, I was fighting myself, because I was literally trying to, destroy my body. I mean, that's what training is. You break yourself down so that you get stronger, recover, and go again. So I was fighting myself in training. In the races, I was obviously fighting other people and trying to use everything in my power to defeat them. I was fighting against the organizers sometimes if results didn't go my way, or if I felt things were unfair. And I kind of realized that it's just not me. Like, I am not that. I'm not that person. I finished the race. Part of me was going to literally step off the bike halfway through the fight, this World Championship race. And I thought, well, that's going to look a bit weird. I'll just keep going. So I got to the end, but I knew as soon as I got over the finish line, I knew that I would never race again. And I sold my racing stuff. I retired from cycling pretty much. I mean, that was a year and a half ago, and I've not really been on the bike that much at all since then. So the big aha is a long story, but the big aha is that you don't need to be anything. You don't need to be anybody. We build up this idea of who we are. We attach to our name. We attach to our perception and the public image of what we're supposed to be. And then we start getting boxed in, feeling, well, I've got to do this, because if I do this instead, it's not going to fit with this identity that I've created. And I just let all of that go and said, well, no, that's not who I'm not that. I'm not the marketer. I'm not the entrepreneur. I'm not, I'm none of those things. I'm just, I don't know what I am, but I'm not, I don't want to define myself. And it was a very sort of liberating thing. It was like putting down a huge kind of rucksack of rocks off my back and just putting it down. And so I don't have to live up to anything. I don't have to prove anything. And I don't have to fit into any kind of box or any kind of description. So that was probably the sort of one of the biggest changes that I've had.
Wow, that's intense and very, I want to say driven, but it takes a lot of courage to realize, like, halfway through a major race like that all of a sudden I don't want to do this anymore, and just make that decision. That takes a lot of courage. Wow. And since you've stopped doing that, you've gone on to other things. So what are you working on now?
Hope you enjoyed the masterclass session so far. Before we get into the second half of the session itself, it is very crucial for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I really don't want you to miss out on another masterclass where I'm going to share with you what other experts, celebrities, Fortune 5000 companies do to become successful and live a limitless life. So make sure you subscribe right now, and every single time we upload a new video, you will receive a notification bell. This allows you to enjoy the masterclass on the regular basis. So make sure you subscribe right now. Well, as you are ready, let's get into the second half of the masterclass session.
I'm working on a number of things. I mean, I've just put a new free ebook out where I show people how to get started with internet marketing, how to get their own online business going, over at michaelcheney.com. So I'll put the URL in there. But yeah, I'm trying to help people really get to a position where they have a comfort financially so that they can do the stuff that really matters. I can't come in and tell people that are struggling financially and say, oh, money's not important, because I know that it is. It matters to an extent. Until you have enough, what I'm saying will just sound stupid. You're like, oh, it's okay for you to say because you've made millions of dollars. Of course you're saying money's not important. For me, it is, because I've got to pay the bills and I can't go on vacation. My car's broken, and I get that. So it's my goal to help people get to the point where they can rise above all the hassle that not having money creates, so that they can then start to do the important stuff. And I say that ebook that I put out that helps people get started on that journey.
I agree. Now, is michaelcheney.com the best way to find out more about that ebook as well as your other courses?
Yeah, that's the best place. You just obviously enter your email address so I can send you the thing. You get the ebook. We've also got a Facebook group as well. And yeah, that's the best place to get started.
And speaking of getting started, what would you say is something that was holding you back from becoming limitless when you started being in the internet marketing space?
It's really, I guess, well, a couple of things. One would be the belief, right? So you've got to have belief, and nobody can give you that. You can read as much about it as you want. You can hear, Muppets like me talking about it for the end of the earth. You've got to find it in yourself. Nobody can give it to you. You can hear it 1,000 times. It's not going to make any difference. So you need that belief, and that was obviously not existing right away when I first started. And also just realizing that you don't have to do everything on your own. Like you don't, I spent my first 2 years of trying this, I didn't make any money at all. I was working 9 to 5 in a job. This is back in sort of 98, 99. I was working 9 to 5 in a job, and every hour when I wasn't working, so 6 p.m. till midnight, Monday through Friday, and all the hours under the sun on a weekend, I would be trying to crack the internet marketing code, and I didn't make any money at all for 2 years. And the main reason for that was I was trying to do it all on my own, and I thought that I knew best. And I would see stuff that I didn't like. I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it my way. And it was only when I started to learn and actually eat humble pie and take, advice from people that had already been successful, that I started to get some success myself. So, follow people that have done what you want to do is the best advice. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Now, Michael, can you, in 2 sentences, tell me what are you thankful for?
Wow, 2 sentences. Is that all you're giving me? So many things. I mean, I'm thankful for my family, my wife, my kids, all the friends that I've met over the years doing internet marketing. Just being alive, I'm thankful for. So yeah, there's many things that I'm thankful for. That's for sure. It's it goes hand in hand. If when you start to live a bit more freer, and you're not tied to this identity, and you're not restricted by perceptions that you have of yourself or perceptions that other people have of yourself. You can live in the moment a little bit more, and it makes you appreciate things. So you're not blinkered. You're not, the classic example is you would see people walking the dog. They'd go take their dog for a walk, and they're on their phone, and they might be an entrepreneur doing business. So they're on the phone walking the dog, and they're not looking at the dog and not looking at the scenery. Like, yeah, let's do this deal. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. And you could ask them, you say, oh, what are you doing on the phone? Oh, I'm working on my business. Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. Why is that? Why are you working on your business? Oh, well, I want to, make enough money so I've got some free time. Oh, okay, great. What do you like to do in your free time? oh, I just love walking the dog. So you're like, well, you are walking the dog, but you're destroying that because you again, it goes back to that future thing. You've imagined the grass is greener when you've got, you know, something in the future, but you have the opportunity right now to walk the dog and fully embrace that and be there, you know, listen to nature, enjoy the scenery, you know, enjoy the dog rather than being on your phone. So it's a simple example, but it's things like that I like to, you know, be reminded of every day. Get out, fresh air, exercise, and just appreciate what's around you. No, not what you're heading towards, but just what is, you know, right now.
I agree. And in being in the right now, with you already having said previously about your cycling and being extremely disciplined in that, can you share with the Limitless Nation some habits that you have instilled into your life that have helped you maintain this limitless lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, things have come and gone. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've done something consistently every day. Well, actually, I might. No, there is one thing that I have done every day that I've been in business pretty much, and that is have a to-do list, which I won't show you here because you won't be able to see my writing. But yeah, every day I write a list of, it sounds simple, but just a list of what I want to achieve. And it's normally only got about 3 or 4 things on it, but it gets written every day that I'm at work, you know, 5 days a week. It gets, you know, I have that list. It's written before I start the day. Normally it's done the day before. It could even be done the week before. But I will order it as well. So if I've got 3 or 4 things, I'll do them in order. That thing alone, you know, we could just stop the call right now. You know, just do that, you know, and you're going to be better than 95% of entrepreneurs out there. Most people rock up, you know, to their business and they're like, right, what should we do today? It's like, well, you've already lost. Right? If you're saying that, what you should do is plan what you're going to do tomorrow. That, you know, if you haven't got a plan and you start the day, that's your job, is to get a plan for tomorrow. Because just rocking from, let's check my email and see where it goes, or let's check Facebook and see where that takes me, forget it. You know, you're wasting your time. So yeah, I would say that's, of all the things, that's the simplest, the easiest to do, but it'll keep you on track. Prioritize a simple to-do list. Don't go overboard. I wouldn't have more than 4 things, and make sure that, you know, that you do the first thing that's on the list, bare minimum each day. If you don't do the others, no big deal. But make sure you have one main thing. If you get that done, you know, you can have a beer or you can watch TV. You know, you reward yourself. Don't be like, oh my God, I only did 3 out of the 4, or, you know, add to them. So you finish the 4 and then like, right, let me come up with 4 more. No, don't do that. Like, so yeah, being kinder to yourself that way is only possible if you've got a list like that in advance. And it just keeps you honest.
Right. It reminds me of a quote that I read, I think it was yesterday, that goes, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would read that a lot before I started business. Now I was kind of worried about it. You know, it sounds like a lot of work. Like I've got to come up with this huge plan, and you don't need to know. I mean, it's good to have an idea of where you might be in 10 years or 5 years, or have things written down. But for me, it's literally just, as long as I've got a day in advance, I'm good. You know, what are the 3 or 4 things I need to get done tomorrow? And that's it. And then when you've done those tomorrow, or the first one or whatever, make sure you write tomorrow's, you know, for the next day. So you're always just a little bit ahead of the game.
And then speaking of being a little bit ahead of the game, if you one day walked into your house and realized that all the books that you had disappeared, and then in a hurry you looked at your phone to look at your online bank account, and you realized that you had almost no money in your bank account, but you had enough money in your bank account to get 1 book, only 1 book, what is the first book you would buy? It
would be 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. It's a really good book. Jim Rohn used to teach Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins learned a lot of what he knows because of Jim Rohn. He used to work for Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn is a great public speaker. He's a great businessman, and it's just a great book. You can read it in one sitting. You can probably get through it in about 90 minutes. But I've read it multiple times. I went through a phase of reading it every year, like around kind of New Year time, I would sit down and read that book. It's a great book, especially for entrepreneurs, because it covers, you know, well, as it says, you know, it's wealth and you know, happiness. It's not just like get rich, not just about money. It's not just a personal development thing. It just covers everything. So yeah, it's a really good book.
I agree. Jim Rohn was also in part how I got started in doing what I'm doing now.
Cool.
Go figure. In another scenario, if you had the ability to be able to go back in time and talk to the younger version of yourself,
Right.
what advice would you give yourself?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. It's kind of weird. I wouldn't want to change anything, like I said before. Like I wouldn't want to. It's like the Back to the Future movies where they go and change a little thing, and then my whole future goes like breaks everything. What advice would I give myself? Yeah, probably just what I said before, like just to believe in yourself, and just believe in yourself probably, and follow your heart probably more than your head. I still struggle with that one sometimes. You're faced with a business decision or what to do in life, and you're like, I know I should do that, but I don't want to do that. I want to do, so I think I would tip the favor a little bit more. I'd probably give myself the advice to, just go with your heart a little bit more than your head, maybe.
I agree. And when you go with what drives you, your passion, you can be a little bit more, it's your energy that allows you to keep moving forward beyond what any rational person would.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, what is the best way for the Limitless Nation viewers and listeners to connect with you, learn more about you, as well as to engage with your products and services?
Just my main website's on michaelcheney.com. If they go there, they can get that free ebook. As I say, it will show them how to get started with their own online business. And we also have a Facebook group as well, which they can become part of. And they can reach me through there. I'm one of these guys that if you reply to my emails, I will see it. I mean, we have a support desk. Obviously, I've got people working for me. But if people reply to my emails saying Michael such and such, then they tell me, and I see all of that stuff. So if anyone needs to reach me, then that would be the way to do it.
Amazing. Now, thank you very, very much for your time, Michael.
You're welcome. No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for the invitation, and hopefully you and the people enjoy it.
I'm sure that the Limitless Nation has been inspired by your story. I know that I have been blown away. You went from starting out not making any money for over 2 years, and then you went all in, and became a cyclist, and then you found out that cycling wasn't for you, and then you went on to the next thing, and everything that you put yourself into, you go full bore 100% of the way. And now you're in internet marketing, and you're helping countless people live better lives by allowing them the opportunity to improve their life.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. No, I'm fortunate. I'm definitely grateful for the position I'm in, and to be able to make a difference. That's all you can ask for, really.
I agree. Well, until next time, this is Donovan saying, stay limitless.
Well, that's a wrap. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the word subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on learning on what you need to do to hunt your future, make sure you watch the interview that I've done with Donovan on what you need to do to hunt your future on every aspect of your being. This allows you to live a limitless life on every aspect of your life, starting from today's forward. Plus, you are going to receive tips and tricks on what you need to do to tackle your day, tackle your challenges on every situation, every single time. So go ahead and download it right now. And until then, stay limitless forever.